I talk about my personal goals and the tutoring that I do on the side. I tutor disadvantaged students, and, my customers are really excited about my goals. But then when I start talking about the vector goals, this is where I really break it down for them even more. I turn to the next page. The next page of my blue book has a picture of the silver cup, which is what I'm going for. I believe when the standings come out today, I will come out number 1 in the Premier League. In the next few weeks, I have to make that gap so big between 1 and 2 that they're not going to think they even have a chance of getting that cup. But I start explaining what the silver cup is. I break down the goals with Vector to yearly, campaign, monthly, weekly, and daily. So I'll repeat that. I break down my goals for Vector yearly, campaign, monthly, weekly, and then daily. And I'll explain to you about that. I actually want to go on to business school, so at this point in the presentation, my customers all know a little bit about me after I built that rapport. They know that I'm doing this for school. They know that I'm excited to put Vector on my business school resume. They still don't know that I've won a scholarship because I talk about that with the campaign. So I talk about yearly, and I say, Mrs. Jones, one of the reasons that the business schools really like this company is because some of the things that they get us as college students who've never done this before is to set out our own goals. And I explain about the yearly goal. And I always have, a page of the standings where I was number 4 for quite a long time in the Premier standings. I went up to number 3, and I show them how I kept going up every week. And then I say, and I'm going to show you how I just got to number 1. But I don't show them that until I get to the weekly because they don't know about my $16,000 week until I break it down to the weekly. And I show them the picture of my silver cup on the front of my blue book. I take the picture of that cup right on the front. And I tell them about how 3 representatives win this silver cup, and this silver cup is mine. And then I tie them back into that main goal at the end of the appointment again. So that's enough with the silver cup. Then I flip over to the next page, and I actually have the scholarship brochure that I'm in cut up in page savers. But I also have a regular one because it's a very impressive brochure. If you guys don't all have a scholarship brochure in the front and the front flap of your binders, I strongly suggest you go to your managers and say, how can I get one of these scholarship brochures? It doesn't have to have my picture. If you guys know me, it's great to have the one with my picture in it because you can say, I know this girl, she was number 2, she's going for number 1 this summer, and I'm going to beat her. And you put your picture in number 1. That's what I did throughout the entire fall. I took an old brochure, I pasted my picture in number 1. It sounds a little funny, and, people are like, okay, some Mrs. Joneses just laugh their heads off. They think it's hilarious. So, even if you feel a little weird doing it, it's great. I won a scholarship doing it, so I definitely recommend that. And now I actually have a picture with me in the number 2 slot with a real brochure, and a pasted-in picture of me in the first picture. So it's like a picture of me and then a picture of me. Like, yeah, I was number 2. I actually, and I explained 72,000 college students, or the number that Micah said actually told me, who do this and who sell Cutco, and it's only the top 25 won a scholarship in the fall campaign. I explain about the summertime, and I just break down the campaign goals. From there, I go straight into the newsletters. Now, I take the weekly newsletters. I used to just highlight my own name and show them, who I'm competing against and how it goes weekly. But wait, do I talk about monthly? What do I talk about monthly? I don't. I'm sorry. When I told you when I broke those down, I don't talk about monthly. I go straight into weekly. I actually have now newsletters where my division manager, Micah, said actually signed his name on one of mine. Are you committed to your goal yet? And then I talk to them about my yearly goal. And then I have just all kinds of, my biggest weeks ever. I have those inside my blue book. Then I go into any push periods that I'm in. And I have a thermometer, like this past push period, it was at $25,000, and I have to actually change this thermometer because I think I already hit that for this push. I'm not exactly sure, but I definitely have to change that goal because it's not till Sunday morning, so I have to make a new thermometer for that. Then I have my weekly I do have weekly. I have my weekly record thermometer. Sorry, I did have no, it was monthly. Yeah, sorry. But then I go into brand days. Now, it happens to be brand days probably have the least recognition in this business. But I love Grand Days, and I've loved them ever since I got my first Grand Day on September 7th, 2008. I have that in my blue book. I'll never forget it. It was my first grand order. It was my second homemaker ever with Super Shears, and I was just so excited because that was my first Grand Day. I had my 41st Grand Day yesterday, and I'm about to have my 42nd Grand Day today. I love Grand Days because if you're going to work, you may as well make the day worth it. If you're an FSM, which I think most of you are, you may as well make at least $500 in one day. So once I'm going to work, I don't mind working the whole day and making my day worth it. And I explain to them about Grand Days. I explain another reason that the business would like it for, these goals, these daily goals. Every day you sell $1,000. I briefly explain to my customer about Grand Days, and then I show them my biggest day ever, which usually impresses the heck out of them. 12,241. They're like, you sold all that in one day? I'm like, yeah, Mrs. Jones, Cutco is really expensive. They look at me, they're like, are you serious? I'm like, no, I actually sold $9,000 to old customers over the phone. They're like, wait, you sold this stuff over the phone? I'm like, no, only to my old customers who already had sets. They loved it so much they wanted to get a set for, like, their son and their daughter. They're like, oh, really? So I'm already planting the seed with my customer for the next time I'm in a push period and I have to call them up. They're going to be expecting my call. Oh, Aviva had mentioned that she calls up customers during push periods. And if they don't remember, I'll quickly remind them. And that way I've already planted the seed into their head just by talking about my $12,000 day. Then the next page in my blue book has a whole bunch of testimonials, which those were before my Grand Days also. I just started testimonials after the FSM conference, and these testimonials enabled me to sell a homemaker yesterday in 10 minutes. I leapfrogged from one appointment. What did she buy? An alternate recommended me to someone who had a homemaker who just upgraded to a couple of extra pieces, and then she recommended me to her neighbor across the street. I didn't even know the woman's name. She's like, go across the street, my neighbor's expecting you. I'm like, okay, sure. Walk into her house. I start doing my demo because I knew she didn't ever hear Cutco. She's like, oh, Aviva, I have to leave in 10 minutes for a wedding. I'm like, Mrs. Jones, I can't do a demo in 10 minutes. She goes, oh, okay, so, why don't we reschedule? She couldn't reschedule before Sunday morning. I was at the point in my demo where I was going into my goals. I'm like, no, I was so excited to see you today because I have this huge contest. And I started talking about the contest, the conference. She goes, okay, so you want me to buy a couple of pieces to help you out? And I'm thinking, yeah, I'd love that, but no, I need to sell you a set. Because when I first started selling sets, that's when my average order really doubled, tripled. That's how I'm able to have a $2,000 average order now during a push period. I don't sell pieces anymore. Oh, Mrs. Jones, you can definitely get pieces, but it's like going to the store down the block to buy 4 rolls of toilet paper for $10, or going to Costco and BJ's and buying a big thing of toilet paper where you can actually return 48 of them out of the 50 if you want, but each one of those comes out to about 50 cents. And they're like, oh, really? Yeah, it does make more sense to get a set. So I just sell them on the concept of sets being better. I talk about my own family members who didn't buy sets when I started, how they had never heard of the company, and I name drop, again, with those testimonials, how those testimonials are so powerful. Make sure to get testimonials. If you haven't already gotten them, you don't need to go back to your old customers. I'm sure you guys meet with people who have Cutco all the time. Whether you do service calls or not, before I even started service calls, I went to so many people who had already had Cutco for years. Someone who worked for my mom had Cutco. I never heard of Cutco before. She goes, oh, you got that great job. Her nephew and niece actually used to run an office in Queens. So I never heard of Cutco, but all of a sudden I met someone who had it for 12 years before ever even selling my first piece of Cutco. I actually sold her a pair of super shears before I finished training. It was great. So get these testimonials because they're very powerful. So yesterday's appointment, she never heard of it. I told her on why she should get it set, and in less than 10 minutes, the woman signed on a homemaker +8 plus flatware. And I was just like, wow, name dropping's cool. Like, she's like, oh, well, if all my friends have it, even though I never heard of it, it must be good stuff. They have it for years. She looked at their testimonials. She's like, oh, yeah, they must really like it. Okay, I'll go ahead and try it out, even though I didn't see your demo. She didn't watch me cut rope. She didn't watch me cut leather. She didn't see my demo. All she did was my report. And I just went straight into the close because otherwise I would not have had a sale. So I don't recommend that to you guys because I needed it for this conference on Sunday. I'm not letting Mike Arrieta win me. So back to my blue book. Enroll your customers into your goals. Once they're enrolled, they're going to pay attention, and then the next thing is the product sells itself. From there, I go straight into the regular demo. The same company page you guys all have in your blue book, I go straight into the company page. I talk about the economy on that page because I love handling that objection before it even comes up. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you guys could just give me a call and I'll explain that to you. I don't want to waste too much time on this call with that.